Alright, YouTube, I just filmed my review of my first range day with my brand new Walther PDP 4.5-inch full size. So I'm going to discuss what I've heard a lot of people talk to as well as in person about, and and most people will complain about the snappiness of the Walther PDP. I didn't really notice it as snappiness. It did have some muzzle rise to it, but I didn't see any issue. It returned to zero for me because I have an optic, so I didn't have to fight it back down or anything like that, or fight it up or fight it over, whatever you may run into with some pistols that are really snappy. So I didn't really perceive a lot of recoil. I don't know what most people are talking about, but just throwing it out there. I'm not a typical shooter per se. I don't shoot like most people, pistols or rifles or anything like that. So I don't really run into that sort of issue with pistols, or high caliber rifles or anything like that. I grew up at a really young age shooting high recoil. So to me, most things don't have a lot of recoil because I'm just so used to it. So I'm not really a good review when it comes to recoil. But comparing this to some other 9 millimeters, I wouldn't say it's snappy. Micro compacts, I would say, are snappy, but that's just because of their size. They're really small, their weight and everything, and they're really small barrels. You're gonna get a lot of unburnt powder blowing back into the gun, so that causes a lot of snappiness because it doesn't have the burn it's supposed to, because the barrel length isn't as long as it needs to be. So yeah, I understand that there's going to be more snappiness in a smaller gun, but a gun this size, to say that it's snappy, I would say it's more of a user issue than actually the gun. I didn't see any issue with it myself. So just throwing it out there. If you guys are having issues with your Walthers, saying that they're really snappy, it's probably you, not the gun. I didn't notice it being really snappy, and I'm not going to change recoil springs or anything like that. I didn't see any issue. So I don't see any reason to change it to try and dampen down the recoil, because to me it wasn't bad at all. It recoiled less than most compact nines. So I mean, that's just common because it's a full size gun. Of course, it's gonna recoil less than a compact size gun. People say that you're gonna have more felt recoil because the chamber pressure is more in this gun because of the chamber fitment and everything, which I did notice a little difference, but the recoil impulse wasn't the difference I noticed. I did notice that the ejection and stuff like that was different on this firearm versus another firearm, and that has to do with that lockup and everything. I did notice velocity difference too as well. I shot a lot of hot ammo and a lot of different types of ammo. And yeah, for just your regular run-of-the-mill hollow points, it was a very soft shooting firearm. There was a little bit more recoil out of the plus P 147 grain heavier loads, and then the 124 grain plus P heavier hitting loads out of it. Underwood is like that in all firearms, but you could notice that the differences a little bit. But yeah, I didn't have any issue with it. I thought it was a smooth shooting gun, and it was returning to zero very well. I didn't have to go fishing for my red dot in that, and it presents pretty well. I can't really say that it presents 100% for me because I'm not used to it. But the more I get used to this grip and everything to it, I won't have any issue with it. It's just getting to know the pistol. Yeah, as you can see, I have my carry gun. This is the softest shooting 9 millimeter you can have, but there's a lot of reasons why this is one of the softest shooting guns that you can have, because it's a CZ that has the internal rails, And a lot of people say it's because of bore axis. I disagree. I think it's just because the reciprocating mass on top of the gun that's sitting above you is taken out, and it's just a big gun with a lot of weight to it. This is a heavier gun than this, a lot heavier, substantially heavier. Yeah, this is very, very similar in size to and weight to the Canic rival steel frame. So to to give you an idea of what weight this is, it's very similar in weight. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I would say this loaded is similar to the steel frame unloaded. So I mean, it's very similar to a 1911 in weight. So to say that this recoils a lot when it's a lot lighter of the pistol, it doesn't recoil much more than my CZ, and it soaks up recoil better because of its weight and the way that it has that lower bore axis versus this, which has a higher bore axis. So I mean, its competitor being the SIG 320. The SIG 320 is gonna recoil snappier than the Walther PDP, regardless of what you want to say about the Walther. It's compared to its competitors, it recoils nice. I don't know what people are talking about, saying that it recoils way too snappy and that it's horrible and that we got to go out and change a whole bunch of things about it. It's really definitely a nice pistol. I had a gentleman at the range that was there. I offered him to shoot it. I asked him if he had ever shot a Walther before, and he said no. And he didn't complain about the recoil. He didn't say anything about it to me. And he said he really liked my optics. So yeah, he tested out his accuracy with it. I didn't really test out accuracy that much with it. But I was just zeroing it and then just shooting normal, like I normally do, because defensive shooting in a pistol like this is what I really train with. You're not going to be sitting there taking your time unless you're taking long shots, and I was taking my time more with my longer shots. I took it out to 40 meters. So yeah, I wasn't just shooting it up close, and I didn't notice any issues with accuracy with the pistol too as well. So yeah, and then people talking about the snappiness, like I said, I had a red dot and I was coming up and then going right back, and then I could just pull the trigger and then come right back. So the snappiness of it, I wasn't even having any issues with it. I was returning right back to where I wanted to with my red dot. So I think it's really just user, honestly. A lot of issues that I see with people with shooting guns is their grip strength. A lot of people think that it's really in your arm strength with pistols and stuff like that, but it's more along the lines of your grip strength. So if you have issues with shooting pistols and them being too snappy for you, I would suggest working on your grip strength. But that's just my opinion. It's less about how you hold the gun as it is the ability of you to actually hold the gun in place. A lot of people say you can't muscle the gun into place. Well, the reason why they're not muscling it into place right is because they're using the wrong muscles. Grip strength is where it's at. Now, placement of your hands and everything is pretty important, but it's not that important. Honestly, trying to get too high up on the gun doesn't really help you out that much. It's just it being comfortable in your hand and then working on your grip strength, and then you'll be all right. You'll be able to control the recoil of pretty much anything. But yeah, to say that it's super snappy and that it recoils more than 9 millimeters, nah. I've heard people compare it to 40. It's nothing like a 40. Honestly, it recoils like a 9 millimeter and it feels like a 9 millimeter. It's not super snappy. Micro nines are super snappy, but I mean that's just what you get with that size. You don't get that with this size. All right, so if anybody's worried about the recoil of the Walther PDP, just go out and shoot it. To me, I didn't see any issue with it. As always, YouTube, you guys have a good one. See ya.